Hi friends, welcome back to Your Content YouTube channel. With this video, we are going to start a new playlist called Python Real-Time Scenarios playlist, where we will be covering lot of real-time use cases related to Python and how we can solve the real-time problems by writing the Python code, by performing hands-on demo. So we already have a lot of contents online related to Python. So you can learn the basics from those contents and you can come to this playlist to see all the real-time use cases related to Python. Because I'm not going to cover the theory part, whatever will be coming on our way, we will try to understand that, but we will directly jump on to writing the codes so that we'll not just be stuck in the beginner level. Okay, so let's directly jump on to the first scenario that we will cover in this particular video. So in this video, what we are going to do is we are going to create a file organizer code in Python. So what does it mean? So basically, in your system, you have a lot of files which might be of different extensions. And usually our desktop and download folders look like this, which is very messy and unorganized. So if you want to organize it and segregate each of the files into their separate respective subfolders, which will definitely help us to keep the things organized in a cleaner way. So if you do not know Python, what you will do is you will take all these kind of files. Suppose these are all markdown files that I have. I will take all these files and create a folder called markdown folder and move all these files into that folder. And similarly, if I have all these GIF files, I'll cut and paste into a folder called GIF folder, right? So that will be a very tedious job to do if you do it manually, because you might have thousands of files which are kept like this in a messy way. So instead of doing the same thing manually, what we will do is we will write a Python code which will take the extension of each of the file and create the extension named folder and move all the files of same extensions into same folder. Okay, so this is how it will look like at the end, and inside each of the subfolders it will have all the properly organized files. Okay, so you can understand the need of writing the code, because if you have to do it manually, how much time consuming and how much hectic this job would be. So for this demo, I am going to take my downloads folder where I have lot of contents. You can see there are PDF files, there are CSVs, XLS, and document file, MP4 files, images files, all of kind of files I have in my download folder, which I want to organize in a better way. And I want to create folders, subfolders in the downloads folder, and inside all those subfolders I should be moving all the files automatically using that code. So before directly jumping on to writing the code, I would like to tell you that there are two prerequisites that you need to make sure that you have installed. One IDE, that where you will be writing your code and the Python can run on that IDE. So I have already installed Visual Studio Code in my system. You can go through online content to see how can you download and install Visual Studio Code. And also you need to have the Python interpreter in your system. So I have already downloaded Python 3.13, which is the latest version available right now. So you can download this and make sure to add the path to your environment variables while installing it. So once that is done, you can open your Visual Studio Code, okay, or any IDE where you can write your Python code. So let me open my Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I'm going to use Visual Studio Code, and here I will be writing my Python code. Okay, so first of all, let me create a folder. I have not created any folder right now, so suppose I will be creating a demo folder here, where inside this folder I will be having my Python file. So you can keep it anywhere in your local. So let me go to that folder, open folder, and this particular demo folder I will be pointing to. And now inside this demo folder I will be creating my Python file. So I will hit on this new file, and then let me write the name of the file, Python file, as file organizer.py. Okay, yeah. So Now, first of all, what is our requirement? We have to ask the Python code to go to the downloads folder, and inside downloads folder get me all the contents present in the downloads folder. So what will I do with that content is I will check for each of the files or folders present in the content. If that particular resource is really a file type of resource, then I will take the extension of it. So how can I do that? I can split it based on dot, right? Because extensions are uh, segregated by dot. So the file name dot, and then whatever is the content here is basically the extension part. So I will get the extension and create a folder on the same name of that extension, and then we have to move all the files into that particular folder. Okay, so we have few modules which is inbuilt in Python which we can import and make use of. So one such module is OS. Okay, so there's something called operating system module which we can make use of in order to play with this files and folders present in our operating system. So you can search for the built-in folders, built-in modules in Python. So suppose if you write built-in modules in Python. Okay, so here you can see the Python documentation, and here you have a module called OS. Okay, so basically this is a miscellaneous operating system interface module which will help us to provide a portable way of using operating system dependent functionality. So using this OS module, we can interact with our operating system in the Python code. Okay, so for an example, if you want to read or write the content of a file, you can use open function present in this OS module. Or if you want to manipulate the path, then you can use os.path module. So you can see it is also referring to other modules which we can make use of if you have to deal with files or folders, right? So if you have to create temporary files and directories, then you can make use of temp files. Okay, so if you navigate to it, it will jump to the other module present in the Python inbuilt module list. Okay, so similarly, it says for high level file and directory handling, see shutil module. Okay, so we will be making use of these modules in order to write our code. So let me jump back here. So we have imported OS module where we will be trying to list all the content present in the downloads folder. So that is the first step which we will be writing here. Okay, so if I say os dot, it is giving me the list of all the functions present in this module. So let me see if I can list all the resources present in the downloads folder. So if I see here, you can see there is something called list.dir, which is list directories. Okay, so list directories uh, function will help us to list all the contents present in the particular folder. So here let me create a variable called folder path, and this folder path I will pass as an argument in this list directory function. Okay, so what is our folder path? It's nothing but downloads, right? So if I copy from any of the file, let me copy path here. So I have copied as a path, and I will remove the file part of it. Okay, so let me cut it. Okay, so uh, I have actually assigned the value to the variable folder path. So basically we are pointing to the downloads folder now, and we are trying to list all the contents of this folder. But there's a catch here. You can see in Python, if you try to create a variable of this type, it is basically treating it as a string, and it will not treat it as a path because there's a slash here, right? So it will treat it as a string, it will not skip it. So if you want to skip it, we have to use double slash here. So what I mean by that is, let me first show you what by running this code. So let's run this code. Let me go to terminal and create a new terminal, and here I will run this Python file. Okay, so here you can see it is not able to escape and it is not able to decode this particular file path. Okay, so what we can do is either we can give a double slash here so that it acts as the escape character and it will treat it as a folder path instead of just a string. Okay, so let me clear this and let me again write Python, and then I'm pressing control space, which will basically take the current file which is open in this Python. Okay, so you can see it is working and it is giving me all the list of resources present in the downloads folder. Okay, so this is one way of handling escape character, or what I can do is I can define this as a raw string. So in order to do that, you have to write R before this folder path. So if I again run this, let me save it and let me clear it and run it again. Okay, so now you can see it is working. Okay, so these are the two ways you can handle the escape characters. So now what we have to do is this particular command is able to get us all the list of resources present in the downloads folder. Now we have to navigate to each of the content present in that folder, basically each of the files, and then we have to check if that is really a file type of resource. Then we have to get the extension so that we can make folder with that name. So in order to iterate through each of the content of this particular output, of course we have to use looping concept. So we will use for loop to navigate to each of the contents present here, and we will see if this is really a file type. Then we will basically split this based on dot, because each of the files are separated by file name dot extension name. So we will get the extension name and we will create the folder if that is not present. Okay, so if PDF folder is already not present, it will create it, and then we have to move all the content, PDF content, into that particular folder. Okay, so I'll be using for loop. So let me define each of the item as maybe for file in this particular output. Okay, so this is giving us list, right? You can see it is having the square bracket and ending with the square bracket, right? So this is a list and we have to navigate through each of the content present in this list. So for each iteration, file will hold this particular value. So for iteration 1 it will hold this value, for iteration 2 it will hold this value, and so on. So first thing is we have to check if it is really a file or a folder. Only for file we have to get the extension, right? So in order to do that, what we have to do is, let me get the full path of this particular file so that we can check if it is a file or not. Okay, so to get the full path, what we can do is we can add or concatenate this folder path and then slash this file name, right? Because all of these files are present in downloads folder. So we will be concatenating or basically joining these two strings. So in order to do that, let me have file path as a variable, and then, so as we saw in the documentation, there is something called os.path. Using this module, we know that we can manipulate path using os.path module. Okay, so os.path dot, let me see if we can do concatenation or join. So you can see there is something called join. So we have to join the folder path along with the file name. So the file name, we are getting it in this particular property. Okay, so in the file property, for each iteration it will hold this particular value and it will concatenate or join this with this. So the end result will be, I will just write here, okay, like this, and then it should concatenate the file name here, okay, like this. Okay, so this should be the end result it should give. Okay, so let me do one thing. Instead of running the whole code, let me comment it out and let me show you only for one file. So suppose my folder path is this, right? So I'll give this folder path and let me give the file name. Let me give the file name here, and if I print this, print, and of course I have to import the OS module. Okay, so now let me run this to show you how the end result will come. So Python, so you can see it is concatenating the folder path along with the file name. Okay, so join will help us to do that. Okay, so we have done this. So let me uncomment it, and now we have to check whether this whole file path is basically a file type or a folder type. So if it is a file type, then we will go inside it and we will split it and get the extension path. So to do that, inside OS there is something called os.path. There is something called is.file to check if it is really a file. If you have to check if it is a folder, then you can use is directory. Okay, so is.file will help us to check if this particular file path is really a file type. Okay, so if that is a file type, then we will go inside if condition and we will split the file path and we will get the dot pdf. Okay, not dot, we will just get the pdf part. So out of that file path we have to split, right? So file path, and how can we split? File path dot, let me check if split is there. Yeah, split. And then how we have to split? We have to uh, give the delimiter here. So we have to split based on dot, right? So uh, now it will create a list again, and if you have to fetch the content of the list, you have to give it as an index. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let me again show you practically. Okay, let me save all this and let me comment it out, and suppose I am going to give file path. Okay, so suppose this is my file path, right? So let me give it here. Okay, and now I want to split it, so let me use till this point and show you what I mean. Okay, so let me print it so that you can see practically, and let me write Python. Yeah, so now you can see it has splitted it into two parts, and there are two values coming in this list. So if you want to fetch this particular value, you can use the indexing. If you want to have the first element, then the indexing start with 0, as we know. Then you can print 0, and this will give you the file name. Okay, Python, and then okay. So what it says is, uh, okay, I have written 0 out of the print. So let me write inside. Okay, now Python and then file name. So you can see it has given me the actual file name without extension. So basically the first part of this list. And if you want the second part of the list, either you can give 1 because it is the second element. So if you see, this is index 0 and this is index 1, right? So either I can use 1. Okay, so it should give me PDF. Okay, or what I can do is I can navigate to the list from backwards. So what I mean by that is, if you want to navigate from backward, so this will become -1th element. So the index for this will be -1. So instead of 1, even if I write -1, it should work and it should give me PDF as the output. So you can see it has given me PDF. So if you want to navigate to and get the file name, then you can also write -2. So instead of 0, you can write -2 because you are navigating backwards. Okay, so you can see it has given me the file name. Okay, so in our scenario we need the extension, so we will be using -1. So let me remove all this. It was just for showing you how it works. Let me uncomment, and here I will be using -1 to get the extension. So let me put it in a variable called extension, and now we have an extension variable which will be holding each of the extension of all of the files. Okay, one by one it will extract the extension and put it in this extension variable. And of course we have to create a subfolder or a folder inside the downloads folder with this extension name, right? So in order to create the folder or directory, we can use make directory. Okay, you can see make dirs. Okay, so this function will create the folder. Okay, it will create leaf directory and all intermediate ones. Okay, so this will create the folder. So inside this we have to give the path. So we have to give the full path. So again we have to join the extension name along with this path, right? So inside the downloads we have to create PDF and then doc and mp4, all these kinds of folder name should be created according to the files present inside. So we have to get the full path again. So before writing the path here, let me create the extension full path variable, where again I will be joining. Let me copy this, and here in the argument what we will pass is we have to join folder path again. Okay, let me give folder path with this particular extension name, right? So now it will give the output here as this download folder and then slash then pdf. If it is a docs, then docx. So that particular folder path we will be getting here. So the full path will be stored in this particular variable. Okay, now we have to create the folder, because of which we are making use of makedirs on the operating system module. And we also have to check if there is already existing pdf, because suppose there are 10 pdfs, then it will start creating 10 pdfs and it will fail. So we also have to see, since the file 1 is already creating one pdf folder, then it should stop creating from the file 2 onwards. So let me get the intelligence here. So here you can see, if we have to see if the folder already exists, we can make use of exist okay, and here we will give true. So this particular parameter will help us to avoid errors in case the folder is already existing. Okay, so now it will create the folder. Now our extension folders are created. Now we have to move the files into those folders. So in order to move the files, we have a module called shutils, which we have seen here, right? hsutils module offers number of high-level operations on files and collection of files. Here you can see hsutils.copy file and copy mode. There are different kinds of files, but we don't have to copy because we don't want to retain those particular files. We have to cut and paste it inside the folder, or basically we can say that we have to move those files into their respective folders. So let's see if there is move function here. So you can see shutils.move is there, and it will recursively move a file or directory into another location and return the destination. Okay, so in order to make use of this module, again we have to import shutil. Okay, and using this shutil we can move the files into the respective folders. So let me use shutils.move, and here what is the source? The file path is the source, and what is the destination? The extension folder path, and inside that the file name should be given as the destination. So what I mean by that is we have to move the file, right? So here is where we have the full file path. Okay, so let me copy this, and this will be moved to the folder. Okay, so inside this extension folder, so basically this is suppose pdf folder. Okay, so inside that pdf folder we should be having the full path of this particular file. So again we have to write the full path of that particular file. So here we will be writing destination full path, and here let me again use os.path.join, and inside this the extension full path and the file name. Where is the file name? Here. Okay, the file property or variable is holding the particular file name. So now this destination full path will be having the name as, let me just give a demo. Let me just get this name, and here suppose inside downloads, inside extension full path, suppose it is a pdf, and then inside pdf the file name which we are taking here. So the file name suppose .pdf. Okay, so this will be my destination, which will be passing here, destination parameter. Okay, so let me remove this, and I hope now it is clear what this destination full path is holding, and then we will be moving the file from the downloads folder into the subfolder of respective extensions. So we are good now. If we try to run this code, we will be seeing that all the files will be moved to their destination folders. Okay, so either we can run directly like this, or what we can do is, let me not print all the file paths, or what we can do is we can enclose all this code into a function. So let me define a function. Maybe I'll say organize file, and of course in this function, what is the input we have to pass? We have to pass the folder path, because suppose tomorrow you want to organize some other folder. Instead of downloads, you want to organize the desktop folder. Then instead of changing anything in the code, you can directly call that particular function and pass the parameter there. Okay, so here it will be asking for folder path, and inside this, of course, we need indentation. So I'll select all and add tab. Okay, and instead of defining folder path as a variable, let me copy this or maybe cut this. And while calling this function, right now it is in the same file, so you cannot see the difference much. But suppose you are sharing this code to someone, they just need to call this function, then only this particular line will be enough. Okay, so right now we are good to run the code. So we will be writing Python and then Python file name. So before hitting enter, I am just going to show you how my downloads folder look like right now. And after running the code, it should be completely changing into folder wise structure. Okay, so let me hit enter now. So you can see that the execution is completed. Let me go to the folder now. So you can see all of the files are now assembled together into each of these respective subfolders. So you can see all the CSVs are actually segregated into this particular CSV file, and then all the docs files are present here, and PDFs are present in PDF extension, and MP4, let me go to MP4 or MP3. Here you can see MP3 is there, MP4 is there, where all the MP4s are there. So how much easy this code has actually made my job. You can just understand this is only 15 lines of code, and it has saved me lots of hours by organizing my files and folders. So this is how Python is very useful. If you learn Python, it will be helping you in your day-to-day activities. And this is not only for Python developers, it's for all people in IT industry. So please start the hands-on with Python along with me, so that you can also practice alongside, and you can also learn Python. It's not that difficult as we think. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you find this video helpful. Please hit on like button and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it yet. Thank you.